This is the mountain piece. We can't see the rocks from here because of the leaves, but that's where I saw that flying object. It was first the whole mountain range there was all lit up and I didn't know what it was. We're on our way up to the top of the mountain where the UFO was when I first saw it, and it's quite a walk and it's rather steep.
So this is the spot?
Yeah, this is the spot where the object was hovering, and if anyone had stood there that day, I would have seen them because it was so bright, so lit up. And it went straight out over there, and that's when it hovered over me, when it went in that direction.
Yeah.
And it was very low here, and maybe these trees were smaller. This is 40 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can even see how it avoided going to Mandal by going in that direction.
Yeah. But what a view here. That's amazing.
Beautiful. In 1969, I came up to live on this farm, and it was in September the 24th. And after 2 years, I had chores. I had to look after the animals in the evening, and my mum would send me down to a barn which has been demolished, where I used to run down, feed the pig, and come up again. So I had to do that every day. Walking down here with the big saucepan to feed the pigs, my eyes were gazing up on a mountain ridge up here, which you can't see now because of the foliage. But when I was walking down, it was so bright, I just wondered what it was, but I didn't give it any more thoughts. And I continued to walk down, and as I was afraid of the dark and I was afraid of rats, I just ran into the barn, tipped the potato peelings into the pig, and got out as quick as I could. Now, as I was walking up here, I didn't think about the light which I saw there until I saw the crescent of the moon in the west. And when I saw the crescent of the moon, my first reaction was, if that's the moon, what was that on top of on the rocks of the mountain? So as I was walking up here from the barn, when I got about here, this great big oval or this round circle of an object came out from over the mountaintops. And I remember that evening, the clouds were light and drifting, and it was piercing the clouds, and it came down from the top there. And as I was walking up in my amazement, it came straight over me, and I stood, I gazed up right underneath the UFO. I was dead in the middle. And I stood there looking, and I didn't know what I was looking at, and the rotation was anti-clockwise, and it hardly circulated, just gradually and calmly and gracefully just turned, and the object itself was illuminated by a light, maybe from in. It wasn't transition, but you could still see it was a metal which lit up by itself. And on the rim of the object, there was like railings. And underneath was oval, like it went up in a curve, and it went upwards. And I stood there gazing at it for a time, but then I said to myself, I ran up to the door, knocked on the door, and told my parents to come out.
Yeah.
And they came out because my dad said he didn't believe in UFOs. Well, when he came out, he stood on the step. My mother stood on the step. And my sisters, I don't know how many there are, 2 or 3, they all saw it.
Yeah.
And as I was looking at it, it moved. Like if you stood here with a torch in the middle of the night, you could move that thing as the speed of a torch. It just moved like that, came back, no sound, nothing. It just moved and I can't imagine how anybody could sit in that thing, because how can you accelerate and stop so fast without going through the object?
Right.
But it just moved like that, as moving a light. And then it went over to the horizon there, over those trees. It hovered over those trees. And it came back, and it went in different directions. And then it disappeared for a moment. And when it came back, it was over those Christmas trees up there, straight forward. But it seemed to be 4 or 5 times bigger than it was when I saw it first. When it went that way, and when it came back the last time, it was huge. I don't know if it was about 50 meters in circle, I don't know. But then it just took off. It was gone in that direction. Huh? I was 15.
15
years old.
Wow.
I didn't misbelieve when I heard stories of that, but I didn't give it a thought.
Yeah.
But when I saw it, I mean, my eyes don't lie. Let me just say one thing. 2 years later, I think it was about that, there was a guy who wrote something about UFOs in the newspaper. I knew who he was. And just coincidentally, I sat on a bus one day, and I sat next to him.
All right.
So I asked him about what he had observed, and I asked him the question, why was it bigger? Why was the object more bigger than when it left? And his answer was, it was just the mothership coming in to fetch. Okay. And he said, I believe they unite before they take off. And that could be the answer.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I knew it. I would never have thought of that.
Did you experience missing time or something, or?
No, I don't know. I just know I went down there 9 o'clock in the evening, and I can't imagine it the whole thing, it lasted more than 12 minutes, because I stood there outside. But when I finally went in, it was 10 to 10, and I didn't think about it until years later when I read a story of someone in Norway who had missing time. I said to myself, maybe that's where my time went. I don't know, but I don't recall anything happening. So
yeah. So yeah.
So I was out there from 10 to 10, and it only takes me 5 minutes to feed the pigs.
Right.
And to get back, I did stand there a little bit outside to watch in case it came back, but I wasn't that long. So
yeah.
So I don't know what happened. But.
So it was missing time then?
Yeah, to me it was, but I don't recall anything, so...
Terry, did it affect your life somehow, in the experience?
Well, it amazed me, because you hear these stories and you really don't believe it until you see it yourself. And to put it this way, it makes you believe there are more things, that we can imagine. I mean, you can reject the idea of God, but I mean, and whatever there is of the paranormal. Yeah. But I mean, when you see it, you're just amazed, and it gives you, it prints you for life. It marks you for life.
Right.